Hey there, and welcome back to yet another damage benchmark video. So in today's damage benchmark video, I'm going to showcase the 3 teams for the Alpha Bear itself. Let's start with the very first free-to-play account, currently on the difficult tier, difficulty, and most of my units are at level 170 right now. Not much investments, completely free to play, haven't really committed a lot in terms of the progression. As you guys can see, I do have a lot of the artifacts. So for this account, right, or for this boss specifically, I think the goal is to just do as much damage as possible within the period of time before all units get harned, because when all units get harned, right, when the boss activates the final part of this skill, this mega swarm, none of your unit is gonna survive. Basically, that's how it works, and that's why you just want to do as much damage as possible before all your units starts dying off. And for this case, I'm running Merrily because Merrily is the second strongest DPS next to my OD, and then I'm running the Mauler package together with Torrent. So for this boss, you also need one melee unit in the front line to tank the third skill, right, the slam skill. If let's say there's no enemies in the first tile, the boss will slam the floor and do massive damage to all units, which is what you don't want. So Torrent will be doing this job. I'm going to shift the lineup a little bit, put Merrily over here, put Coco over here. So without further ado, let's start this run. So the other way you can play this out if you don't have a Merrily built up, but you have a healing built up, is to use healing in the lineup. Even though healing efficiency is decreased tremendously when your units get harned, if you have your healing built up to the EX weapon tier, you will have the damage reduction. On top of that, right, if you don't have Smoky developed, you can actually choose to use healing instead of Smoky, because for this boss itself, damage reduction as well as shielding will be much more effective compared to healing, because when your units are harned, when the yellow tile is below them, the healing efficiency of your unit actually drops, which makes it actually a lot worse for you to run like double healers or run healers in general. However, for me, Smoky as well as healing are like my more developed units, so Corin will be a better choice if you have Corin. But in most cases, I think you guys will have OD, you guys will have Coco, you guys will have Smoky. So as usual, for a free-to-play account, just use your best units to jam in as much damage as possible. So over here, it's about 800 million damage. I'll showcase the damage distribution. So this is the dual core strategy. So Merrily deals, I'll say, pretty close damage to my OD. Okay, so that's the damage distribution. And the other build that I actually use or specifically run for this boss is just full healer. Because like I mentioned earlier, right, Hewin now can actually buff up one of the highest attack unit, which is OD. So in this case, your idea of the team is to just survive for as long as possible and then let OD jam in as much damage as possible. So without further ado, let's put the levels on Hewin. And yeah, we're going to put the levels on Smoky to keep Smoky alive. And let's start the battle. Okay, so this team setup is just OD carry, and even though the healing efficiency is decreased tremendously when your units get harned, the combination of my healing with damage reduction as well as the double heal from Healing and Smoky plus Coco shield is able to keep all my units alive until the mega swarm kick in. So you guys will see for yourself over here. So this is a single carry build. Okay, so the shielding is kicking in, as you guys can see. Over here in this boss fight itself, shielding is more efficient compared to healing. But if you have both together and you have 3 healers in a team like myself over here, provided if you have Hewin's EX weapon, there's a damage reduction, you can actually keep all your units alive until all of them get harned. So you guys can see that the single target buff that Hewin provides for my Smoky allows my Smoky to break my own damage score, as you guys can see. So this is the single core strategy, focusing on maximum heal. Okay, so just stalling out until the very end. So apparently it works. You can actually stall out the damage timer. So this is the single carry distribution. Yeah, Hewin providing a ton of heal, because for me, my Hewin is actually at Supreme with EX Weapon 5, and I have the seasonal skill at level 3, so the buff that it provides for Smoky is quite high. So if you guys have a Hewin developed with the EX Weapon and Mythic Plus, I think you can definitely try to use this full heal comp as well if you can store out the whole battle. So that's for the free-to-play account. Let's move on to the next free-to-play PTR account. Let's go. Okay, so this account itself, right, I'm running Satrana. at Legendary Plus, because I don't know how I got her to Legendary Plus, but Zatrana at Legendary Plus is actually more than sufficient to stay alive, because she has a damage reduction as well as the invulnerability to keep herself healthy throughout the whole battle or for as long as possible. So her role is a damage booster for OD, and I'm running Crescent spell for this account. So OD, Coco as well as Smokey and Zatrana, they will form the 4 Mauler core, and then we have Corin. So Corin's damage output for this boss is actually pretty optimal. On top of that, this unit has the shielding ability, which will protect specific targets such that Coco's shield can set in. And for this account specifically, my Coco is not Mythic Plus yet, so she doesn't generate any shield yet. So having Corin to just extend the life of my units for a little bit longer is heavily appreciated. However, if you have Reina and Mythic Plus, you can actually switch out either Zatrana or Coco for your Reina Mythic Plus for a balance of damage boost as well as heal on the carries that you sent in. So this is the mage team setup. I'm going to showcase 2 setup. So one with Reina and the other one with Zatrana in the team. Let's go. Okay, in fact, for the most meta team right now, it consists of Corin, right, Supreme Plus, Coco, Smokey, OD as well as Reina for maximum damage output. So the higher tier units, the more damage you can dish out because your whole team has more stats. Okay, so you guys can see for Zatrana's case on this account, right, even though she's not Supreme Plus, she can actually keep herself healthy for a decent period of time because we have the heals from Smokey, we have the damage reduction from Coco, even though we don't have the shield there. There's also the shielding coming out from Reina, which is keeping everybody alive. And Zatrana, being a magical damage booster, is allowing OD to do more damage as well as allowing Crescent spell to do more damage as well. So you guys can see my damage output being at 2000 million, which is 2.2 bill, I guess. Yeah, 2.19 bill over here. So we have 13 seconds remaining. If my Coco had her EX weapon, I think we might be able to survive till the very end. So this is the mage team setup that I'm running, okay, with Zatrana. Okay, so the other, I'll say like the other substitution is switching out Zatrana for Reina. So this one will give your OD a little bit more heal. Okay, and let's start the battle. So the setup is the same, but you're just switching out Zatrana for Reina. So I think for Reina's case, it'll be better if you have the EX weapon, because right now without the EX weapon, there's no damage boost, just a little bit of attack boost and a ton of heal on OD. But one thing that is good about sending OD in is that OD will be the very first unit to be hunted by the boss, which allows this unit to use his skills and do what he wants a lot faster. So that's one advantage of this build. But you also risk the possibility that your OD will die off pretty quickly because you don't have the EX weapon, you don't have the damage reduction on OD. Okay, so previously it was throw the Coco strat, but people realized that maybe throwing your carry in is a little bit better to boost your damage output within the fixed period of time that you have. So in most cases, as you reach the tougher difficulty, as you hit the higher damage, there's just no way for you to survive. So over here, we're hitting 2.2 billion, slightly better in terms of damage, but eventually all the unit will die. So the damage range should roughly be very similar if you have the very similar stats distribution or tier distribution on your different units. Okay, so this is the damage distribution. So Corin is actually doing a pretty decent damage considering the fact that there's a true damage nerf, but that is if you have the EX weapon unlocked like my this account over here. So that's for this free-to-play PTR account, which is more of that like a light to mid spender for the global server side. And with that, let us move on to the last team, which is the meta mid-game team showcase. Let's go. Okay, so for the final team itself, right, the most meta damage build is currently the Mauler plus Reina and Corin build showcased in the PTR account. So it's the same for this meta mid-game team as well, just more stats as well as more EX weapon levels. But more specifically for this account, I'm going to talk about other alternatives that you guys can use to boost your damage. So let's say you don't have the Mauler core, you can obviously use the Merrily, right, light barrel faction because you have Corin. But if you specifically don't have Corin, Torrent is also a pretty decent choice. So let me find the Torrent. Yeah, so Torrent is also a pretty decent choice. So you can protect either your Coco or you can protect your OD so that you can deliver max damage while surviving slightly longer, right? Corin is proven to be the better one for this boss. But let's say if you don't have Corin or your Torrent is not very developed, but you have a Florbell, Florbell is also pretty decent. Florbell has additional bodies for the honeys, and this will also slow down the damage output of the boss, keeping your whole team alive for a little bit longer. And Florbell's seasonal skill is a permanent debuff because this unit is gonna hit the boss, I'll say, consistently. So that's where this debuff will kick in and increase your damage output as well. So I'm gonna showcase these 3 different damage distribution, right, based on the different adjustments. I'll just assume that most of you guys will have the Mauler core together with the Rainer support over here. So this is the very common units. Let's go with the Korean one first. So this one you will use Crescent spell, right? Let's start the battle. Okay, so I'm not going to explain too much for the battle itself. It's very similar to the previous team setup for the PTR free-to-play account, but the Corin recently sort of got changed out in terms of the damage distribution. So I believe some people might not have built him up, right? People probably went for Merrily instead of him in most cases because Corin is like a secondary carry. But considering the fact that all the A-level light barrier units are not very good, you should probably still have went for Corin and Merrily because they're sort of like the better options out of all the A-level characters, right? Lucius is pretty good as well, but Lucius only rise to prominence recently. So I do hope that you guys have invested in Corin as well as Merrily outside of Faye or Valen or Morel or Atalanta, right? Lucius is okay as well. But yeah, this is how the battle looks like. So you guys can see the HP of my units, they're always consistently very low because healing is not very efficient, but shielding is way more efficient here. And eventually all my units will get honeyed, so the Mega Swarm keeps in, and then we died from there. But we did 17 billion damage, which is pretty good, okay? So this is the damage distribution. Corin about half damage of our dear OD over here. So this is combi number 1, okay? So next, I'm gonna do the Florbell combination. So for Florbell's combination, right, you kind of want to use the evocation spell because the evocation spell is really good for Florbell specifically. You guys will see why in terms of the damage distribution. So without further ado, let me just shift my units around. Let's start the battle. Okay, so we are sending OD in so that OD can stand on the front line to take the honey. So the summons that Florbell offers a longer duration for the battle because you delay the Mega Swarm ability of the boss. Okay, so I believe this team setup is probably not as strong in terms of damage output compared to the Corin one, but it should still be, I'll say, a pretty good damage distribution. Later on we will showcase. Okay, so because evocation spell, right, if you can survive for the full duration, you'll get 2 cycles of all the buff, which will maximize the efficiency of the artifact itself. And because you have Florbell with additional bodies, you can survive, I'll say, the full duration for the 2 cycles, which is why you use evocation spell when you use Florbell. But if you use Corin, you cannot use evocation spell because you will die somewhere around the 13-second mark. So right here, you guys can see we are dragging out the battle a little bit. Smokey actually died off earlier, which is unfortunate. So that's one thing which I think Corin will do better because Corin offers the additional shielding. But right here, we are doing about 16.7 billion damage, which I think is not as good as the Corin build, but it's pretty decent if you have Florbell built up instead. So this is the damage distribution. Okay, so I mentioned earlier that you could use Torrent and send in a unit with Rainer, but I realized that having 2 units on the front line to take the initial honey is not a good idea because your units will die faster. So instead of Torrent over here, I think another combination that you guys can run is the use of Satrana, where Satrana will be the target you send in. So this way we have to reposition our units slightly so that as many units gets the Satrana buffs as possible while building a mid-centric team. So this is one way. So just now I mentioned you can use Torrent and send in OD, but I think it's not a good idea to have 2 units hunt it at the very start, which is from this skill cast. So instead of sending Odie in, we are sending Satrana in. So Satrana, even though she doesn't benefit from the attack buff, but she benefits quite a bit from the damage reduction because she can stand on the front line for a really long time. And on top of that, Satrana, if you have her sufficiently built like this account, at least at Supreme Plus, she actually deals a pretty decent amount of damage, as you guys will see later on. So this is the full Mauler Mage team. Okay, Satrana is rising up in terms of Dream Realm because you guys will see Satrana more in the next few days, especially against one of the existing bosses in the preseason, and I'll talk about more why that Satrana is good for this boss. But you guys can see that Satrana on the front line is surviving pretty well because of her ultimate as well as the damage reduction from Reina. Okay, so the shield managed to kick in on time, and then I think we should be able to survive for one more round. And okay, that's very nice. That's a really nice ultimate to store out the timer. Okay, so we are doing 16.7 billion damage. So obviously the most optimal one will be the one with 4 Maulers and Corin, but this is one build that you guys can definitely consider if you do have Satrana developed to a higher tier. So if you are running Torrent as well as Odie, then I think you might not want to use Reina because you don't want to send in any units with Reina, or you can send in the likes of Corin, which is a 2-tile unit which will jump backwards. So that's possibly another combo that you guys can run. But most importantly, I'll say you don't want to send in 2 units right in front of the boss at the very start of the battle. So that's something that you want to avoid. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe to see more AFK journey videos from the channel. I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.